All right, good evening, everybody. You're welcome for tonight's market update. My name is Medas Kalijima, the team leader of Plan B Express. Just to give us an overview of the market for the week, and so what are we expecting? So first of all, congratulations for those of you who have been following and taking action as we've been showing the path of the market movement. And of course, remember this channel that we're able to get broken, and then so we're forming similar pattern already here, just like we moved sideways for a very long time. And they started the sideways move since about for how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That throughout last week was a kind of sideways movement as we're having. So give and take, what we want to have this week is that if the market continues to move sideways, perhaps maybe a little retracement back to $92,000, then remember, we say a milestone again, 98,000, then breaking 99,000 and all of that. But get it right that until we break above 105, 106, 109,000. Now, what did I say? I said chances are there that we continue to push up, starting the month of May, June, July, until August, September, and even November, September, so we start to have a top of the roof, which going to probably, if we're able to top out of this point, $176,000. And this is the point. Most time when we get all of this analysis, we really do nothing. And that's one of the biggest problems. Now, for the fact that we expect that, we're very optimistic that market continue. Remember what we talked about this market of this channel, and then we're still making money between this channel. And why I have to do this, because I have to still with cryptocurrency, was that number one, if I'm just even an investor, to know when to buy, hold it to a good extent, and then sell. So imagine when I'm talking about $73,000. Fortunately, we're able to stop at about 74,000, almost that $73,000 and all of that. And I'm sure for anyone who was paying close attention and following update since that time, even if you are just an investor and buying to hold, you have done 25%, which is very good. And imagine if you take $10,000 to buy an asset of and you have done 25% of $10,000, you know how much that. I remember the first thing we mentioned about when it has to do with cryptocurrency or digital financial market, global financial market, the first thing we mentioned and which we emphasize about investing. So investing is the first bedrock of anything financial freedom in this space. Yeah, fine. Now, the three segments we have in our spaces have to do with investing, trading, and affiliate rebate system. No matter what you do in your trading and you do not have a backup in your investing, well, I can tell you that you're going to struggle over time because why? Trading is like a career, all right? So, but it's very honorable. That's the truth. It's a very long like skills and fantastic. But no matter what you do in trading and you do not have a backup in your investing, yeah, I can agree. A lot of us have invested in different platforms and our money got sworn away and all of that. But nevertheless, that's why you need to spread tentacles. All right. So now looking at the market, so we still have been having this sideways throughout last week. And so if that happens, so if we continue that this week, that makes a lot of sense. But you have to be very careful for us not to break below 91,800 thereabouts. If not, if we do that, then the whole movement we're having it's going to be invalidated. That means that we're going to have Bitcoin return back to $89,000, or even perhaps back to that $85,000, which is going to mess the whole thing up. But nevertheless, if we crash down and then still able to get on top of the neckline of the double bottom we had here, which is about $89,000. You know, $89,000 has been a very, very serious point of reference and an important area either for support and resistance and at the same time. And where we are now, again, is a very critical point, which is about, you know, 94, 95, $96,000, right? It was a very, very critical support area. And so if we didn't get it broken, 91, 92, then it's going to make sense. So the next move, so we're not going to be looking at going to $99,000 as it were. So the question you ask me now is, Feli, what should I do? Well, fine. If you're a day trader, so you want to look at how long is this sideways going to move like. Now, if you look at it, of course, I've traded Bitcoin today. If you're a day trader, perhaps like looking at Bitcoin on 4 hours. So actually, you know, of course, it's going to look short unless you're on 1 hour, 30-minute time frame and all of that I've short down. So this gives me more very nice support, all this white that's I've been doing, right? And so that means we need to actually get out forcefully above this point and until we're able to hit over up to that $96,000. So the $96,000, we need to actually forcefully break out of it. If not, we continue to have a sideways move even this week. Remember, why I'm much concerned about it this week is that we're going towards the end of the month. And so the candle close for the month is so important too. And then what people want to check and see what market is actually doing within this time frame. So now, so Bitcoin, if you want to, so it looks so undecisive. So, and so the sideways could not be moved, but we're bullish, right? Either we like it or not, we're bullish, all right? As much as
There's no voice again, sir.
it should be your own system, it should be your own side. So, like I was saying, so give and take, if we're able to have this journey up here, then we're going to rally up to that $98,000 and all of that. I'm on long position on Bitcoin, right? I took a long and a short just for like intraday trading yesterday in the morning rather, because the market actually took some move. Altcoins did that, like XRP did a very nice move for me, all right, today. And so it's to be doing a lot of nice move as it were. Avas, this and all. So you probably want to look at maybe Solana. So Solana to take a move, perhaps back up to that 161. Solana's just have a target to hit about 100 and, like I told us, high 100 and 175 to $182 and all of that. So you probably want to look at Solana, perhaps if the narrative is going to follow it or favor it, as it were. So I would rather want to buy Solana rather than buy Bitcoin because of it's choppy, right? So, but remember that even if Bitcoin is going to crash, I mean, the correction, if Bitcoin is going to create the correction, then you should expect that. Sorry, I'll go here. Just a moment. So if Solana is going to, so let's go here. Just a moment. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So even if Solana is going to move up, the challenge we're going to have is the aspect of Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is going to have that push down, then it will affect Solana, and then all the other coin movement and all of that. But you rather want to like look at Solana. So if you're going to buy Solana to rally up to 170 something dollars, let's say from here to, so you can do about 10%. And so if you're going to go to $175, so that's about 15 to 17%, which is not a bad one. For those of you who are following religiously, when I talk about Solana back to $95, and if you bought at that time, that was a very nice one for you. And even as last week, where we're talking, if you bought Solana, I think we were talking at that time, Solana at the price of, I think over here, price of $130, $134 and all of that. I said we need to actually cross $141. And then if we're able to break it, the next point of importance was now $147. And so where we are is actually above $147. And so you want to have Solana rally up as much as possible to up to that $150, $161, $175 over this week. So buying Solana, either you long Solana, so but if you are not used to future trading, you rather want to just use a very small leverage, maybe 3x or 5x maximum, so that you can maximize the opportunity, as it were. Even Ethereum too ought to have similar journey, to what Bitcoin was doing, but it will maintain a kind of sideways move. Remember when we talked about the Solana movement last week too, where we talked about, I think, yeah, for it to get to $1,800. And I think that time we're within this region where we're taking this sideways move. And also Solana was down here about 1,500 and something dollars. And that was a very massive one. And so we need to break out of this point, and that was fine. So the similar thing Bitcoin did. And we remember we were down here on Bitcoin. So we're down here on Bitcoin, and I told us if you can take some position, you can take position. But if you want to be a conservative entry trader, so you should go above this point. And I'm not sure it was a very bad one for anyone who followed the instruction and took market. So if you are taking any position in Bitcoin right now, so you have to look at maybe very small lot size, and then your stop loss, to be below $93,220 thereabout. And then you want to be targeting first 96,000, 97,000, ultimately about $98,000 and all of that. So, but because one of the things is that if you go on to look at liquidation level, we have more liquidation at the lower part of the market than the upper region and all of that. Just that we're bullish, right? So you want to be very conservative. But congratulations for those of you who have been following simple direct instruction. I think BNB2 was trying to show a kind of powerful move and all of that. Okay, now will I say it's wrong for you to go in buying XRP? Well, for me, I think the movement is so massive today, and they probably want to wait for a correction and all of that. This one I've been maintaining a very powerful uptrend since that last week where we're talking about it, which is this had been most consistent profit making token for me on my trading boat since last week because of the movement consistently up and all of that. So, but if we're able to have a major break above $4, then maybe Bitcoin is going to give us that. Then that coin will now going to be hitting target. What we say. Remember, our target of this coin on Sweet token was target of $7 to $10. All right, so $7 to $10. So if we're able to cross necessary point at about $4 or $3.8 in the bowl, then we'll be targeting about $7 possibly this week till next month. But you have to be cautious. Remember, by Wednesday this week is the month ending, and so rebalancing of the market always have a kind of reset. But irrespective of any position you take now, you probably want to have a very nice stop loss. So Solana, okay, Avas, so you can see sideways move of Avas all this way. So you probably want to look at Solana, like I said, Ethereum, all right, and probably Bitcoin. And Chainlink too ought to have a very massive move all this way. But of course, there are so many narratives that may not allow people to have taken enough opportunity. They ought to have taken all of that. So I think Solana, Ethereum, and Sui, right, actually good either spot or future trading. So that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all right, and actually Sui. Okay, so other meme coin and all of that, but take note until we have this kind of journey movement. So there's so much narrative around what's it called? There's so many narrative around Binance chain. So many meme coin are jumping around Binance chain. So if you go to your desk screen now, I think better you actually want to explore some of those tokens and narrative of meme coin on Binance Smart Chain as well as possible. All right, so let's quickly look at the currency market. That's a Forex, those of us who are Forex trader. So DXY, remember we talked about DXY previously, that we actually need to recover above this point and for the journey to return. So we touch here. So the continuation likely going to continue, right? For this week, maybe happily market open for us to have a pullback, then we continue up. And then that means, remember I said, anything I'm trading that has to do with dollar. So whatever is the journey of DXY, whatever journey of DXY I do is what I'm going to use to determine my entry on Euro USD, GBP USD. I'm not a fan of currency trader. I mean, in Forex, I love to trade commodities and actually indices and all of that, commodity like gold. So, but nevertheless, for small account traders, like if you're trading with like $500, $1,000, then it's better if you are not going to look at how to settle down and allow your setup come to you, then that means the best position we can recommend for you should be Euro USD, BP USD, as it were. Okay. So I don't think I've had so much analysis to do on Euro USD because whatever DXY do is the opposite. So you are trading upside down. So it is upside down of Euro. Upside down of Bitcoin is your Euro USD. Upside down of DXY is your Euro USD. So in other words, if you are trading currency, maybe a kind of swing strategy may be better for you. Remember how we've been talking about Euro USD because of the journey of DXY before now, and that had ride so much, did a very nice job because we had a kind of divergence, a bullish divergence. That was in the month of January, right, this year, and I think that was a very nice momentum we have enjoyed up to this time. So if DSY is going to have a good momentum up for this week, then we're going to have, just a moment. So if DSY is going to have, a recovery for an up move, momentum, then all you need to do is to look for a way, to short Euro USD. Okay. I quickly will have to do this. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so let's quickly look at gold. Those of us, like I told you, please take note. If you are in our community trading any of the prop firm, like so those of you on AKASHX, or you are trading any prop firm to pass challenge, what I said is that the best instrument you should trade because volume is much available and have very good respect for psychological level and all of that. It's nothing but gold. That's it. I think I even have a position I enter very highly risky. I entered into it last week, and that was here. Probably if I can find, you can see, terribly risky for me. And remember, if those of you are followed on Forex Trading platform, I didn't send the signal intentionally because one, it was weekend, Friday market closing. I have a position hanging on that, right? But not on my trade because of I don't just want because when market open, you're likely going to have a pullback before the continuation. And so I wouldn't want the pullback to go below this point, which is about 3,306, and then for us to be able to have a continuation. Outside that, then it's going to be very, very terrible. If I go below that, that means it's going to invalidate all my, although I have adjusted my stop loss. So that's one of the lovely things. But if I'm able to have this rally, that's going to make sense because this happened to be the previous day high, and then the liquidity was grabbed, and this same thing grabbed the liquidity down here, and the market continued to go. I trade support and resistance strategy very well along with the price action. Old, primitive, but profitable and simple. I don't know how to complicate trading strategy for myself, trying to like, oh, I want to do this and all that. However, of course, whatever strategy you are trading, you want to know where liquidity is hiding. And because the more complex your trading strategy is, the more less profitable you become because you'll be exerting so much energy on then understanding the complexity of your strategy, of what purpose, all right? So that's what made me to actually get entry into this position. I think I was interacting with one of us that last week, and I say, hey, I'm here, but it looks so risky because there was no most necessary very nice volume to have pushed the market up and all of that. But overall, on like 4 hour time frame was looking bullish, right? And that was why I took an entry for gold last week. So that is to say, for gold opening this week, we should continue rallying up. You can see that, right? We should have continuation up for gold. Either we have a pullback, right, after the market open today, and then to continue to rally up, back up to, 3,409. And that's a very important point, as it were. Then before we can now go to create another additional new all-time high. So for me, however, that would have been a massive and fantastic one. The market have come to this point, but it actually have a top touch on these 4 hours, just a touch on the 4 hours imbalance in the market and all of that. So for me, I'm bullish on gold. And even though we're going to have a pullback, and then so would make a lot of sense. So that the continuation. So if I were you, I wait for the market open, have a pullback, and then I'm looking for a possible buy entry for gold. And that's exactly what I do. And of course, those of us who are on our Forex group last week, I'm sure you really faced, we took a lot of trading on NAS 100, all right? Don't think I will send a signal on US 30, but NAS 100, we took a trade, which we said, okay, we're expecting that this market, but we said this was a very nice profit level. If you had broken all of this, then we want to have it sell down. But nicely enough, the market have a very nice bounce because DSY took a move, and that gave us an idea that, okay, if DSY took a move and all of that. So, and then you have a gap like he's created here on this guy. This is DSY. So if you have a rally pullback, then you are going to have a jump on Euro USD to want to continue going up, right? You can see that, right? You're going to have a kind of jump of Euro USD, probably jump, grab all of this, or even come back to this point to wipe all of this liquidity. And then, because why this DXY want to actually, and then fill up this gap, all right? It's a CME gap here. Want to fill it up and even come back to grab all this liquidity. So that means within that window period. So what you may look at, what you may see in the market open for Euro USD is a kind of smart move up, and that can give you some money. And then, but you have to be very careful. After the smart move up, then you see a sweep of liquidity, and then the market continue to sell down as much as possible. So for you who are trading prop firm accounts, maybe you're trading FundNX or you're trading Trade Mastery on AKASHX and all of that, face gold more, and then so that you can able to pass your account as much as possible. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think that's so far what I have for us tonight. That the market, however, we still continue taking a kind of sideways move on the sideways move on right on Bitcoin, right? Yeah, so but those that who are doing day trading and all of that, I think there was a move down here in the morning. Yeah, today, after sweeping up this, right? This was the previous day high here, sweep it off, and then again return back to grab the low. And so we have a sideways move. And so what we're having here is this. So Bitcoin actually have a maintain of a kind of sideways move. So, but this could be a continuation breaking this to grab this again. May probably be able to roll it out, going to $96,000 and all of that. So remember, I told us that you probably want to prefer buying into Solana, right? Buying into Solana, buying into Ethereum, right? SUI, right? So because if you look at Ethereum, if you're going to have a move up to this point, that's going to give you how many percent? Give and take, that's about 2 point something percent. So if you use 5x, you're going to do 10% of your portfolio, as it were. Okay. So, but overall, like I've said, we are bullish, right? But we're choppy in Bitcoin, and that's exactly what's happening. Bitcoin, so looking choppy, and so that market can. I can just imagine if you're not a very smart scalper last week, right? You have continued sideways move and all of that. So a lot of people actually messed up on the trade last week for Bitcoin because they actually do not see some were just okay, let me long and all of that. And you can see for how many consecutive days, yesterday, day before yesterday, all right, the other day, and all of that up to this point. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 days on the row, we just maintain a sideways momentum. And so that's one of the things. But above or in general, think you're bullish, and then you don't want to cross below this point. So as long as you can pull back to 93,000, 92,000, yeah, fine. Then, boom, then you go up. Or you can break this to fill out this probably back to 87, 89,000, 89,000 dollars region. Then continue moving up as well. Okay. So I think, like I've said, those of us who are trading meme coins, there are also many narrative meme coin on Binance Smart Chain. And also you want to go to your desk screener and then check for most of the tokens on Binance Smart Chain right now and all of that. So like I've said, this sideways move is not a good one for Bitcoin, right? And then so after the sideways, you could have a very smart move down, just like a long candle this way. And so whichever thing you do right now, but if I were you, I'll be patient to allow the candle close of today, right? Especially for Bitcoin, so that you can actually now see where to go. If not, like I said, we have a continuation of sideways move. And as long as we break this, then you're going to return back down here, which is $87,000, $89,000, or even return back to about $85,000, which is possible, right? Then, but if you continue this, I have very smart move up here. So remember, 88, 98, 97, $98,000. And but as far as we stay below this point, then we're not going to have a crazy explosion. But as long as you go above this point, I told you guys, then chances are there that you're going to 175,000 to 173,000. And lot I've said is going to go more than that. But for me, I don't think I have that more than that region. Remember, tentatively, this is the top of this cycle, tentatively, except and otherwise we break above that point. Then we can now consolidate above, then targeting $175,000 as the top of the roof of the market. Okay. So gold, US oil, I trade more of gold, US oil, NAS 100, US 30, and all of that. Because why? After my much analysis, those are the, stuff that give volumes that will not make my effort look so, wasted as it were. Okay? So the another opportunity we have, we've told you guys that leverage on too many opportunity, buy coins or staking and all of that. I remember saying this, that those we said, sell off part of your portfolio when we're up so much, and then so that you can stake into PAYNET ecosystem as pay-in. I'm sure most of us who never even pay attention to the token is, I'm sure what will happen is that you just wake up and discover that the price of the paying token is it's not looking at anyone at all. Just continue to rally it up as much as possible. Right, where's this? Sorry. Excuse me. Okay, sorry. Okay. So like I've said, so those of us who are trading are looking for meme coin and all of this. You have more on not that Solana ecosystem is no longer available, but you have a lot, so much on you have so much on the Binance Smart Chain that's gonna give, though it's not, it just holds so much of pump and dump around that and all of that. So you want to see, sub token. Yes, save this, apply. Okay, my filter is crazy. So probably take this profile off. Wow. I'm highly so okay, let's just take off this guys. Okay, apply. Wow. So they are funny tokens that can just dump on you, and so all of this. So let's cut this done. What is it all about? Done. Yeah, so done, that was 3 days ago. Oh, that has maintained some kind of great move. So like I've told us, so there are much meme coin that are printing money on Binance Smart Chain right now. And so you want to pay attention. You can imagine this a token. I think I was busy, and so I'm following this token see yesterday or something. Yeah, this is yesterday. Yesterday. So you can imagine. And I think it has been maintaining a very nice structure up in And so from that yesterday, I'll have done 100% on give and take. But what I'm just showing us is that there are so much more meme coins right now on the Binance Smart Chain, right? Although that's the narrative they're just creating. I'm not sure it has a very strong sustainability like Solana and all that. But, when it has to do with meme coin, you want to follow the trend and, the narrative around so that you can make. So those of us who are, trading a meme coin, low gem tokens and all of that's better. You look into aspect of Binance Smart Chain. So, because that's the narrative, a lot of guys actually drive into us and all of that. So, yeah, Solana is still good, right? Fantastic. And so, but there's so many stuff I would do. Like I was saying, I said many do not know how this token, paying token, like we talk about staking and all of that. Yes, I know a lot of us are afraid because, of course, we have lost crazy money on different platforms. And at the end of the day, so look at this token. 3 years ago, we start investing. By next month, May, I will be 3 years on this same project, right? Not just buying the coin, that's what was it, but we stake, and they're making about 9% every month on our $3,000. And why I told everybody, hey, if you can sell part of your token when we're up. Now, imagine, let's say, and that took about 3-4 months. So imagine you have $270 times 3 months, that's about 800 and something dollars. And so when I was talking about Solana at the price of 90 something dollars, other tokens, then you will have as well just buy some of them. And then as they move up, you sell. And those are the businesses and strategy we kept telling us that these days it's about personal involvement and paying attention to simple instruction. And then that will give us an edge to make more money. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new tonight, what do? You need to have access to platform. You need to open your own exchange like Binance, Bybit, MXC, and all of that. You need to have wallet like Phantom Wallet, like other wallet probably you want to actually save your money into. And then so for Forex, I've said this and I'm not withdrawing from that. And I said, anyone who want to come into our Forex activities, you do not even need to come to Plan B to enroll. So get that straight. If you want to enroll, that's the choice, right? So you go to AKASHX. Why I have to emphasize on that, because that you can go into, be serious that you are in a school. Because I've seen a lot of people when they come to Plan B, when you ask them to go back, to go and learn, to jump, okay? As long as you jump process, I'm telling you, you will suffer a lot. That's the truth, because those basics are very fundamental. They are keys. So, but people just jump over it and think that you can bypass it and all of that. They are not healthy if you don't settle down to know basics. All right. So, but for me, what I have to recommend AKASHX is that you register like monthly and you pay 150. If you don't study everything, after 1 month is expired, you don't have access to the education again. So because in Plan B, once you subscribe, and all of that, you have access to it, and people actually take it for granted. So, but when people subscribe on AKASHX, then you still have access to follow-up information, Plan B, as it were. All right. So that's what I have to recommend for everyone if you want to start your Forex. And beyond that, remember that it is in the AKASHX, you're going to have, the partner funding, which is on the trade mastery, that you can have access to funding. So not only just learning, but you learn and you have access to fund to implement what you have learned. I think it makes a lot of sense for me, if anyone actually see how important it is and all of that. So it makes a lot of sense. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, so the market was too bullish, right? But of course, don't get surprised. Sometime in my own trading of like futures, I don't say if you're a beginner, don't do it. In some of my future trading, right, I sometimes don't use stop loss. Don't do it, okay? If you're a beginner, because you need to be mechanical as a beginner so that you can master some stuff, right? So, because that's why I use what they call it, cross margin. So the market can give me even draw down for a while. Then when they recover, I give me my money. That's simple. So you can imagine maybe somebody who long from here and the market continues to draw down, it's not my business. Over time, it will return back and give me my money. And so, but don't do that, because if you're a beginner, you're likely going to be emotional about the whole process, and that will affect you psychologically. Right? So that's why I say, as a beginner, don't do that. But for me, I do a lot of that. So I can enter a trade and forget it as long as possible, right? Because sometimes some of your trade, if you don't know what you're doing, stop loss will only waste your money. But please, if you're a day trader, scalper, and all of that, or let me just say day trader, the aspect of stop loss is very, very crucial for you. All right. So, but if you're a scalper or swing trader, stop loss can be wasting your money. All right. Okay, so you can see XRP is still pumping, and I would say the best time to have started, when it's down and all of that. But I think if like on spot, why not? You can buy. So because you're looking at XRP, probably to go to, so if all things being equal, all right, okay, still going to go back to that $3, maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks, as it were. Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. And so pay attention to information when we send across, and so that you can maximize every opportunity we have around. And that's just one of the basic things. And another thing we always encourage people is that we have sent a lot of videos, trainings that you should sit with so that you can understand basics, all right, implementing them. Trading is not the way. I always tell people, I say, if you're a scalper, you're a scammer, because you're going to scam yourself, right? That's why the best trading strategy is actually a swing trade. That doesn't mean you cannot scalp, but if you don't understand swing, your scalping will even very, very problematic for you. That's just one of the things we need to hear. So all of those jamboree people are creating here and there, it's actually not worthwhile. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Do have a nice rest, and a video will be made available on the group, so pay attention to it. So bye-bye. Sleep tight. Thank you very much.